start with your story.
No, I don't know about that, but we can.
It's too late. It's already
What?
on the air.
It's
Good
already
morning.
in.
I was just trying to do the like organic open.
Yeah.
We're just going to be talking about little things and
Yeah.
.
I think when you say
I think the organic
it feels
open
the
is
organic open.
yeah.
No,
I think
no,
the
no, no, no.
organic
In
opening
fact,
is
this
when
is-
you start by telling the story.
this is the definition
then-
of organic.
This is the definition.
I don't
So
know
you-
if that's the definition I'd find.
So okay, do we want to do a cold open?
We're already live. What
Good
do you mean?
morning.
Is-
Welcome to the Monday morning worship hangover.
That's not a cold open.
Cold open. The cold
Cold
open
open's
is
when you come in like in media res, like there's no
Yeah.
context.
Oh man.
or
And it's
not
separate.
even that,
I
but
meant
there's
like,
there's something
sorry,
happening.
Wrong term. I meant just like a regular open.
Wrong term. Our intro,
our hot
introduction
open.
is I think the word you're
Yeah, introduction.
looking for.
Okay, I'll try again. Hey.
Yeah.
Welcome to the worship hangover. I'm Zach.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Joey.
We are out of control
For a-
because
for a
Dallas isn't
hot
here.
open.
So hopefully you're watching Dallas and you can help us
He's not.
know the way.
He's not.
watching. He's not.
He's not watching.
Okay, so you want to hear my story? Funny story.
They really want to hear your story. They don't know what it is,
I don't know
but
if this is okay.
but I'm telling you guys,
Tell you
you
what.
want to hear
We'll
this
just censor
story.
it. I don't know what it is, but
you need me to censor myself.
maybe.
It's
I don't know what the
live.
story is. I have no
We're live.
context. I just
Okay.
walked in.
We're not editing this
So-
out.
Do it.
Okay, my kids. I'll just go for it. My kids like to do a thing called a recital, and it
Mhm.
all
I know the
stemmed
story.
from Rachel.
I told you.
Rachel enrolled Riley in a dance class, and they at the end of dance, like you do a recital. That's normal, and so then
And all of the creative
it's super fun.
in what artistic freedoms.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
so it was fun, and my kids all knew it. Like my boys got to watch it, and so then they decided they're gonna go home and they're gonna create a recital of their own in our basement. And so we're probably on like recital 8 or something. Like we've had a lot of recitals, and it's great. It's fun to watch them do their own thing. They basically choose some songs, and there's some dancing. No one's singing yet or playing an instrument, but I'm sure that'll come.
It'll
eventually.
happen one day.
Yeah, probably.
Sure.
So they're like dancing, and it's just also getting increasingly longer too. Like so, we started out at
Those
like 2 or 3
creatives, man.
songs,
So
and then now
they
we're like
can't
doing
help
4 or
themselves.
5 songs, and that's like 45 minutes.
to interrupt you, Zach, if you ever wonder like what it's like to be like a pastor's kid of a worship pastor, this is it.
I guess
Oh,
this is
yeah.
it.
This-
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So
It's on brand.
So it's been great, and we like it, but there's a point where it's like, okay, we have to be done because we can't just sit down here and you guys just dance the whole time. And they've done a couple dances where Abel was just like dead tired at the end of it. He was just dancing this fast-paced thing the whole time, and that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
but
that is good.
But yeah, because he was like committed to it, and so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been good. They give us tickets sometimes too.
Mm.
Like so they'll give us an envelope, and it's got, I think we have multiple tickets. I don't
Like invite friends kind of thing.
I have
I
yet
guess maybe, but
I have yet to get
I've
a
got-
ticket.
so
yeah.
actually
Kinda rude.
you've been on the invite list before, but we
yeah,
just,
but I somehow didn't get an invite.
Yeah, that's
well,
weird how that works.
I'll tell you afterwards why you weren't invited.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it was something I did. So yeah, it was on purpose, but you'll thank me later. So there we go. Look at that face on Joe. He's confused. You want to know, but they can't know. Okay, so back
Okay.
to the story.
Yeah.
So then yesterday they're setting up for
man.
another recital, and it's good. And then I go down there and I hear, I'm trying to remember how this.
You want me to start singing?
Yeah. Don't do it. Can you make the noise at the beginning of the song? Yeah. And it's like, boom. So I hear that, and I'm like, what? What is this? And I go in there, and they're just dancing, and it's like,
You're gonna get us copyright struck. Stop.
yeah, stop. They're listening to "Drop It Like It's Hot." I think they were searching for hip hop music,
Yeah.
and they were like, I mean, I don't know. I only know.
It'd be a
Alexa was
popular
like,
result.
I only know one hip hop song, and it's
Yeah.
"Drop It Like It's Hot." And
Yeah.
so I walk in there, and I'm
Choose
like,
your stuff.
do I make them stop? And so what I actually did was, before I made them stop and said, you can't listen to this, I pulled my phone out and recorded.
Obviously.
And so I was like, man, it's kind of a reminder that you can't just let your kids like run wild with even
growing
like
up.
Alexa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're growing up, but like we still have to put a little bit of boundary. And they
Was it Alexa? Is that how they did it?
yeah. And so they'll be like,
okay.
Alexa, play hip hop music.
Yeah.
And then she's,
You just anyone who's watching on their
Oh,
TV
man.
or with their
Uh-huh.
volume up that just started playing "Drop It Like It's Hot" on
yeah,
their,
they're getting dropped
on
like
their
it's hot.
Echo at home.
Yeah.
You're welcome for that.
Yeah. So, but later on, it was funny. Lucas was like singing it, but he doesn't know the actual words. And so he's saying all
It's
the words.
catchy.
He's saying all the words, but he doesn't know what they mean. And so he's not
That's
saying
good.
them actually precisely.
Yeah.
And I wish I could do it, but
There's some interesting words in there.
that's what I wish I had the recording of.
That is really good.
But so they have no idea what it means, and it's just something that happens when you have Alexa at home. And so, oh man, other than buying things, they'll buy things on Alexa too. And
Has that
turned
happened?
off. Yeah, you can turn it off. They
We
bought
turned ours off.
Farts Unlimited or
That's
something
what
like
we
that.
got. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually about the same time.
Farts Unlimited?
Yeah, you
Or
have to make a fart
extreme-
noise, and then you can. It's like $3, and you get like an upgrade 100 more fart sounds pack, and it's.
Ooh.
Did you get the
wow.
refund though? Because I straight up went back and got the refund.
No, it was really funny. So we kept it.
I mean, it is funny. You can do
He
like
made the purchase, but we were like, "That's pretty good, though."
He's like, I'm so glad you made this purchase.
Yeah, I
And
wasn't mad about it.
Alexa will be like, you'll be like, do like a stinky fart, and so she'll do like whatever that sounds like to her, and then she'll be like, would you like to hear a wet one?
Yeah, or a cheek wobbler. That's my
A
favorite one.
cheek wall.
Yeah, we've reached a new low.
So funny.
Oh, man.
anyway.
So
When
yeah,
I-
and then you can do 100. You can be like,
Yeah.
Alexa,
Yeah.
do 100 farts.
Yeah, and she'll just do it.
Oh man, I'm sorry guys. We've reached a new low. Drop it like it's
I
hot.
know what
and,
we're doing
and,
for Huddle.
That should have been our title. Drop it like it's hot and
Yeah.
the cheek.
I don't think that should have been our
We should
And
title.
have
100 farts.
We should have done like a ranking of the best Pharrell Williams produced songs.
Oh, that could have been good.
Because Drop It Like
Next
Hot's up
week.
there.
Happy?
No,
It's-
see, that's like
No,
Well,
that is.
It
That's up
is.
there.
No, it's up there.
no,
How?
not in his top.
Okay,
Maybe
wait.
popular,
Let me
but,
ask
like,
you this. Okay, what's
of
your
the world.
metrics here?
Good.
Oh, just
So,
yeah, just like, I wanna listen
so,
to it.
So what your opinion? is
That's what I'm
of
saying.
Good.
Yeah,
okay.
that's how you rank things.
I'm just saying you can't listen to that song and not just have a little
I
more
can't, 'cause
bounce
I
in your
listened to
walk.
it so much in college when it came out.
Yeah.
well, there you
It was
go. You're
everywhere.
proving your point. So,
Yeah. And I don't. That's I wouldn't rank it high. Is overplayed for me.
so
I think maybe you could come back and revisit it though, and it would
That's the
spark
thing.
new joy.
I am forced to revisit it against my will often enough that
yeah,
I'm
you
like,
do have a
I'm
child.
kind of
So
cool on that
both
one.
of those have a similar thing, if you can find the commonality between them, and it's that they're both really simple.
Mhm.
Like Drop It
Yeah.
Like It's Hot is super simple. It's got like some keys, like more like a synth type thing.
It also has
and it's got that thing, which
Dude,
is
it's
cool.
a weird one. It's,
Yeah.
it's almost experimental.
And then Happy kind of has a similar it's got more absence than it does.
Well, that's kind of
like, filled up.
his vibe. Yeah.
Which maybe that's why they're
Yeah.
and they're both
He's just good at like
kinda
a
hip-hop.
simple, real, like no frills, but
Yeah.
but like
but
earwormy.
solid. Yeah, earwormy.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So
when you started this story, I had a connection into what we were talking about today.
this is unhinged.
Totally forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we need to ask. So Jennifer says her husband randomly set these sounds as my
Sounds.
alarm on my
Oh
birthday
my
last year.
gosh.
That's pretty good.
What do we need to ask?
That's a good alarm.
What sounds? The drop it like
fart
it's hot?
noises.
I
Oh,
would
the
assume
fart
it's the
sounds.
fart noises.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
The
yeah.
was like-
drop it.
It's 100 farts for your alarm.
Oh, man.
What a way to wake up.
Sorry, Jennifer. That's the worst.
Oh,
So
man.
this
It's also
is
pretty funny.
this
She
is
she
true
didn't
image.
realize that it was an alarm. She just thought it was Dave
Quiet,
Boy.
Dave.
Just
Sleep. Anyway.
I'd like to sleep in on my birthday.
Like,
And then he
how
just
mu-
pretended
Yeah,
like he
dude,
was
that's
sleeping.
rude.
Just pretended like he was sleeping,
Man, he is
Yeah.
he is a sneaky guy. He'll sneak up behind me and tickle my hair.
It's okay. He'll sneak
then
up
he'll-
behind me and pretend to tase me. So
Oh.
Yeah, dude, he's real sneaky
Dude,
with that
we
taser. He had a
reached-
baseball bat
yeah.
yesterday. Did you see that? He's
Yeah,
walking around with a
just
baseball bat
walking.
slung over his shoulder.
he is.
I was
If he
like,
wasn't on
this
our
man's
security
dangerous.
team, if he wasn't the head of our security team, he'd be our biggest security threat.
he might be both still.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Oh,
If you're
man.
watching, Dave, sorry.
Oh yeah, but Jennifer, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, welcome, Jennifer. Thanks
Anyways,
for joining us
Okay,
today.
wow,
So-
man. Okay, so we can reel it in
I
now
get
at
this
point, I
text
think.
at like what 9:00 last night
Yeah.
that just says, "I wish this video didn't exist."
Yeah.
And, oh man,
It was my kids.
It was so
It was
good.
my kids. with
Yeah,
Drop It Like It's Hot.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
The good part is that Riley's dancing like it's a kid's song. She's going,
Yeah.
and it's great. So
Yeah. So you guys probably know, you may not know, but my son Jude is obsessed with umbrellas.
oh yeah.
Generally speaking, he loves umbrellas. Anything about umbrellas. So
Who
he
was-
found.
he switched from candles to umbrellas though.
Yeah.
Okay.
He finds an obsession, and he's all
Because
in
I'm
on
still
it.
stuck that he's on
Flags,
candles.
too. He also loves candles. I mean, he's like
So I
he's
go-
a man of many tastes.
I'll walk
but
around my house, go candles.
umbrella is his main thing right now, and then through that he's found the song Umbrella by Rihanna.
Oh yeah.
Ella.
And that's the one.
I think.
And
Yeah, we recently found
so
that too. I
good.
think.
Yeah. Copyrighted.
And so he loves that song, and we'll listen to it, and he has a couple of live performances he'll watch and do the choreography with and everything. So he's listened to that song so many times now that he'll do the entire Jay-Z intro. And I didn't know he could do it, but he was asking us to sing the song for bedtime at one point. And we were like, Umbrella, Ella, and we're doing the thing. And he's like, no, do the uh-huh. And we were like, what? And he's like, we Rockefeller. I was like, what? You know that part? And then he did the whole thing. He knows, like, I mean, not every single word, but kind of like you were saying with Lucas, like, he's got an approximation of the entirety of that intro that Jay-Z raps.
My
It is
gosh.
so good. I have a video I can share with you guys later. But
I love the
I'm
pathway
gonna
to
need
Umbrella.
that.
Like he just likes umbrellas.
Yeah.
And then this song.
And then the song's about
then-
umbrellas, and he loves it. Anyway.
And then Jay-Z's there.
And then Jay-Z's in it, and so now he can do a whole Jay-Z verse or intro, I guess. I don't know.
Being
It's
a pa-
so funny.
Being a parent is so fun, and for
Yeah.
these reasons, and also just like, oh no.
Yeah.
And so we've had a couple where we were like, no, Alexa, turn it off.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, we've been there for sure.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So welcome.
good, man.
we titled today Aaron's bald head.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
I don't
good.
think we should say anything else about it.
I wasn't here for that.
Yeah.
It's just clickbait.
Yeah.
Just click
Yeah.
it.
That's Zach's way.
Part of the start of our morning is spending about 15 minutes deciding whether we're gonna
That's true.
name today's.
I thought you were going to say
Talk.
15 minutes thinking about and talking about Aaron's bald head.
Yeah, we do that as
Just our
well,
normal.
especially in
Do you
recent
remember the
times.
first day that he came in? Bald.
I saw him at Huddle,
That's right.
and it was like.
Isn't that on a Monday?
It is.
But did we do it? Was it when
I
we
think you
had it
shaved it
on
for
a
a Sunday.
I
Saturday?
shaved Saturday night
Oh,
for Sunday
that's what
morning.
it was. Okay. I saw you and I was like,
No,
I had to double take.
That's what I did.
Saturday night. Yeah, but then we had that week had Huddle Saturday night, I think,
Oh, we might have.
and then because I was
Man.
prepared going into Sunday.
Wow.
Yes.
So like I think like going on toward the serious note, like I think that was a really good.
I have to say, I've been
Analogy
keeping
for
a
the sermon.
secret.
Thank you.
I've been keeping a secret this whole time.
You in Huddle, you learned why I shaved my head. Like
Yes,
the
the
backstory that I
real-
told, the full backstory. Really.
Yeah.
Like I gave a 5-minute version during the sermon. Not even 5 minutes. It was like 3 or 4 minutes. But
yeah.
we've been talking about this for weeks.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Huddle,
And
the background, all the stuff I've been digging through lately.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been a lot, but it's been good. I mean, it really has, like I said yesterday, it's been a big learning season for me to recognize so many things that had been under the surface that I hadn't ever noticed, or at least identified in a way that I was like, oh, this is not just part of my personality. This is like a destructive, like a negative
Tendency,
thing that I
yeah.
have in me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for years, I've recognized that I like being the second person. Like I like being the supporter. Even playing video games, I don't want to be the like in a team game like League of Legends or something. I don't want to be the damage guy. I want to be the support guy
Yeah.
who's like making sure you do well. And really, I've learned all of that is just the same reasons. I just don't want to be responsible for failure. I don't want to carry the weight of a mistake. If someone makes a mistake, it's not like I'm not the one who pays for it. It's that person who I was
Yeah.
supporting. It's like it's this weird psychological thing that I've apparently fallen into for years.
I think the plot
Yeah.
twist on that though is that in League of Legends, I'm sure if you weren't there, that everybody
Oh,
would
yeah.
fail anyways.
Totally, and it's not
And it could
all
be totally
bad.
your fault.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
There's definitely like positives to being happy in a support role, but it's not just like I'm happy to support because I like supporting. A lot of it is I'm happy to support because I don't want to
Yeah.
bear the responsibility of leading.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing as a leader.
Yeah.
Like to be afraid of leading in a real way.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm trying to find, like the light and the dark of that tendency
Yeah.
in me, like the positives of I'm happy to not be the lead guy.
Yeah.
Like even just in a church context, like I'm happy being the executive and not the lead pastor.
I mean, so all of us are kind of support. Like sometimes I'm like, man, I'm glad Dallas is making that decision and not me.
Yeah.
Like I definitely feel that sometimes, like
Yeah.
transparency here.
Yeah.
And I think we all do.
Totally.
And then we all have things that we really have to lead out on and like set
Yeah.
a standard and
Yeah.
and be bold and so and I think that that's something that like probably is more outside of my comfort zone. Probably not a like true like hard type A personality.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe that might be what it takes to be lead pastor, but I would say there's probably enough people
But
that
being
I think for it
type
to
A?
be
Yeah.
naturally to have a
Or
natural
just
tendency
sit
towards
in
that
it.
kind of leadership, but even that comes with its own drawbacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not just like,
Mhm.
oh, so they can be the leaders then.
Yeah.
It like we all have these tendencies in
Yeah.
ourselves to lean to our shadow side and
Yeah.
act in ways that are unhealthy, even if we are built for leadership. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes that goes out of control, and we've seen that happen
Yeah,
in the
totally.
church. So
Totally.
yeah.
But yeah, so a
Yeah.
lot of our conversation yesterday was about the idea that Jesus has already accepted each one, like every one of us. Each of us are totally accepted by God as we are. And we looked at the story of Zacchaeus talking about, you know, how Jesus saw him before Zacchaeus had done or said anything to justify himself in the eyes of Jesus. Jesus said, "Hey, you, I'm coming over to your house." And then from that recognition, Jesus seeing him and choosing him, then Zacchaeus makes changes in his life. And so we talked about that kind of that play
Yeah, man.
between the order of, you know, am I performing to get Jesus to like me, or does Jesus like me? And so now I'm acting out of that kind of, you know, dynamic. And so, because I think a lot of us get that wrong, just not on purpose, just like subconsciously.
Yeah.
that wrong.
Well, and I think you kind of have talked a lot about it. It's hard to tell sort what was huddle
we've
and
talked
what's
so
been
much about
the
this.
sermon.
This
Like,
has been months of stuff for
but
me. Yeah.
like we're set up to fail in this, you know, because our culture and our work system and you know it is so based on you know, works and you know what you do and at
performance
work you have performance things with, if you're a student you have grades, you know, like that's the thing, like our whole life is based on like, you know, those performances. And so if you meet them or not,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing that I think is a part of it, is because we've learned and we've been trained to look at ourselves and determine, you know, and measure ourselves is the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Because of that, it's not whether we meet our standards or not, you know, that tendency is still there.
Yeah.
You know, and that identity is still at play. Like I'll be honest, you know, I already said this to you guys, but with you guys, like I was hit really hard yesterday from the sermon, and you know, I'm now 2 hours into the 3-hour book that you recommended, Search for Significance.
Yeah. It's really good.
So it is really good. Yeah, and it is really good. And I recommend reading it. So I had the book and I had been about 3 chapters in for, I don't know, a year now. And then after the sermon, I was like, yeah, I literally bought it during the sermon. Like I was like, yeah, I was like, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to do this. And so like, I literally only have an hour left. I'll probably finish it today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
But like, cause I think the thing that, you know, that I think we struggle with ministry is that our job isn't always about measurements.
Yeah.
Right? Like the work to week thing is not, now we have measurements about how our ministry is doing well,
Sure.
but like, I don't, you know, go home from a day's work with, you know, lists of things, because it's so, you can't judge yourself based on, you know, what things you got done, because, you know, if somebody comes and talks to you for, you know, just to talk, you know, like your whole afternoon shot, you know, like, and so, but that's the job. And so, yeah, like and I think so I'm curious. Okay. You mentioned 4, I have to remember, I know which one hit me, but it was, shame was one.
Yeah.
Standards that you set for yourself was another. And then what were the other 2?
Yeah, so that one was the performance.
Performance.
And then there's approval addict.
Approval
which is
addict.
People have to approve of me so I can feel
Yes.
good about myself. And then the blame game.
Blame game.
Which is everyone deserves punishment when they don't live up to whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So which one do you guys feel like you fall into most?
I mentioned it yesterday. Mine's approval addict, hands down. I have never really wrestled with the performance trap necessarily, like perfectionism and stuff like that. Not that perfectionists are the only ones who deal with that, but that is a great indicator of someone who struggles with that particular thing.
Yeah.
That one might be me, but like I've kind of had a little bit of a shift in like my motivation for doing things. And some of it is like I'm chasing, which maybe this is approval too, like partially, but I'm chasing what I think someone else thinks is adequate or perfect, and I never reach it because I don't actually know. like I'm chasing their goal, but then it becomes a moving target
Yeah.
because it's the thing that they said to, like that day. Like an example is I don't think this is a combination of things, but like I was under a guy doing a residency, and he would tell me how to fix something to make it right. And so, but he never told me that like the thing that I had created was good enough. He was always critiquing my thing.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, nothing I do is good enough is how I felt about it.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, no, like if I would have left it as it was, it would have been fine. And to chase that is like a never ending battle.
dude.
So now I'm chasing, man, is this something that I'm personally proud of?
Yeah.
And trying to seek that rather than
Wow.
seek that rather than am I meeting the approval, which maybe that's twofold.
Yeah.
I feel like I think you hit it on the head for me, like, because it is like a moving target. It's like
moving target is
because I can see the things that I do and what needs to be better, because there's always things to improve, especially when you're in ministry. Like when you have a vision, the whole point is that you're striving for it. You're always striving for it, and so there's not always the feeling of, okay, I'm sitting there, or if there is, you have to self-impose it. And so like I feel that too. It's like I'm always looking at what is next. And I've always done that in life, but I've always, had other people tell me that the stuff I'm doing is good enough. And I've wanted more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now I think, I don't know, it's I've realized that maybe, my parents aren't there, there's not grades that you see every week, and so some of that's pulled back. And so like now I just like sit in this like, this tension of maybe this isn't done, but it is good enough,
Yeah.
Yeah. And it feels wrong to sit there. So I feel like it, to me, when I hear that and when I think about it in myself, it feels like a combination between the performance and the approval addict.
I think that's where I sit.
Yeah. And so I think, because for me, and he kind of mentions this in the book when he goes through them, but the performance aspect, I do that to myself. You know what I mean? Like they're not standards that, like, I don't think about punishing others, at least that I know of. I mean, I'm sure it shows up somewhere, right? But like for me, the biggest thing is that like I punish myself. And he talks about perhaps some of the biggest punishment that you can inflict on yourself is just self-condemnation. To say that you're not worth as much because you're not fulfilling these standards, and I was like, and so, that was, and we talked about it, yesterday, like it's hard you don't just change that in a 25-minute sermon. Like that's a long process.
But I think you opened the door to people being like you kind of have to know
you did
about
for
the
me,
problem.
yeah.
And I think that is what the sermon's maybe purpose was, is like starting that process.
Yeah, because you really, like you said, you can't like hear a 30-minute inspirational, okay, now go and be different. And then be like, okay, I just won't chase approval in that way anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's not real.
I'll just sit in this.
And because these are such deep-rooted problems in each of us. Like if you struggle with any of those things we talked about yesterday, it's probably in there really deep from like years and years of habit forming and ways of thinking about yourself and about others.
Dude, and parent-child interaction too. I think I probably have that you just don't even think about, but you've got the memories lost, but the feelings are still persisting. That's crazy.
And so that was part of why my story yesterday really kind of highlighted on like this has been months in the making, is that like I am still wrestling with and dealing with what I learned about 2 months ago. And so that's like, that was my sermon, was like I learned about this thing that's I didn't realize was in me, and now for 2 months straight I've been like weekly working through things.
Do you feel like this was the target like thing that you ended up getting the chance to preach on?
Yeah, it was really not like coincidental because but like it was.
Did you choose this particular sermon, or was
no? Dallas said,
and then it just
in Trello he just he didn't even conversation about it. He just tagged me in this one and said, "This one's yours because I'm gonna be on vacation."
He was like, "The Holy Spirit told me to give you this."
That was the whole thing. He was just like, "I'm on vacation, so you're preaching this one."
Wow.
And I was like, "Okay." And then I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, Mark just preached on this same topic almost. His was about."
I remember you talking about that.
Because that sermon hit me hard too. But
yeah, and it was really, really good. And so I was like, well, I don't know. I don't want to like just do the same thing that he just did. And then so I thought for not very long about mine. I was like, wait a second. This is where I take it. Because this is what I've been. And then so it just like a light bulb. And I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like I was so excited to talk about it. Yeah. And it was like, Dallas and I didn't talk about how I've been wrestling with this. I mean, that I only shared with Huddle that this is something I've been working on for a couple of months, and my wife obviously. But like outside of that, it's just been I shaved my head because I wanted to, and it hasn't been like this, you know, big.
I wanted to do it for a while, so I just did it.
So Dallas, I don't think had any idea I've been. Unless he's just like really perceptive and could see this is an area of weakness you need to teach on this or whatever.
Yeah.
But realistically, I think it was just like God put those pieces together, and it was really cool to be able to talk about that.
Something that like a thought that I just had about the 3 areas is like the way that I feel like I understand like anxiety, which I feel like is plaguing the world right now, whether it always has or whether it's something new as of the last like 10, 20 years. Yeah. But each one of those things, if you're dependent on that acceptance from someone else, sends your like thoughts into like a feedback loop that never ends. Yeah. And to me, that's what anxiety feels like. It feels like you're going down this path, and one like bad feeling feeds the source and just continues like that. Yeah. And I think about that like audio too, because we have feedback stuff all the time. So, but that feedback loop happens, and that's kind of almost a definition of anxiety. Yeah. And so all 3 of those things, trying to please something that can never be pleased, is anxiety inducing. Yeah.
So in the book, the author gives an equation, which is what we do when we sit in this, right? Negative self-view of ourselves. We ascribe to the equation of my self-worth is equal to my performance plus what other people think of me. And that is like the ingredients of that feedback loop, right?
Nice.
Like, because when one of them goes down, and then that's an equation, right? But it's
like divided by 0.
Yeah. Because it doesn't follow normal algebra rules, because when you change one side of the equation, it changes the other side. But when you change that side, it changes the other side. So they just it's a feedback loop, because
that's good.
when your performance goes down, and or what that causes other people's views of you to go down, which then in your mind causes your worth to go down, which then causes your performance to go down, and so that's the loop right there. Yeah. And so like I feel that. Yeah. Or oftentimes what happens is it doesn't always happen that way, but we feel like it, like we feel that my performance has gone down, even though I've been, working as hard as I could this whole time, like my performance isn't bad, but I think it is, because I've got my own standards. And I think that other people are thinking about me. And like, you guys ever just like have your conversations for other people, and then convince yourself that they think about the things that they think about you, and then you actually talk to them and they're like, no.
It's so much more simple.
That's what I was going to say.
You're playing out all these doomsday scenarios and how you have to like defend yourself and whatever, and they're just like, okay.
This is so much an internal thought situation, and like you just described it, that like we can run away, and then we have to remember that like the breadth of where this reaches is really just like around my head, like that's as far as it reaches, because it's not really, if I'm feeling this way about it, it doesn't affect you unless I do something that affects you. Yeah. It more is like, I can run away with this and not have anybody else around. Yeah. Or even talk to anybody else. Yeah. And so, I think I
think it goes to show that your perspective is not what other people think. Like your perspective of yourself, of the situation, of life in general, is not what the other person is thinking. And we forget about that, because we logically come to a conclusion, but other people draw different conclusions because they're on a different side, and we're either oftentimes more forgiving of ourselves and less forgiving of others, or the opposite, where we're more forgiving of others and less forgiving of ourselves, and so like,
what's the proper thing there?
What's the right thing is forgiveness.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just grace. Yeah.
It's
just grace. just grace is like we need a bracelet or a hat or a shirt that says just grace.
Yeah.
You know, because I have found myself saying that a few times, like in my life, of like that's what Jesus is, right? Like it's not about the things that we do. You know, honestly, like it's not even about our faith either, because the grace is there before. You know, it is out of that grace that we have faith. So it's just grace. It's just grace.
Oh man, that's so good, Joey.
Yeah, right?
That's
like,
really good.
There's no shame, there's no guilt, there's no, you know, any of that. It's just grace, like just God's grace. And sometimes we have to, I think, you know, slap ourselves in the face a little bit with the word of God and just say, you know, like there are times when you just have to, you know, cut some things out, you know, like, and by cut some things out, I mean, cut it out of the negative self-talk of, you know, and just say, no, there's just grace. There's just grace. Yeah. Like I just imagine myself, you know, like like the image I have in my head right now is just a person sitting in the fetal position, just shaking, just saying, just grace, just grace, just grace, just grace. You know, like just trying not to spiral. And you're just like, which, you know, is what it is. But he also talks about, okay, I'm 3 hours in the book, so I'm spoiling it for 2 hours in the 3 hour book. The other thing he talks about, because I'm just now getting into the solution part. So, yeah. So, which you've read the book, you can spoil it, but some of the things he talks about too is community. Not that, you know, not being solely dependent on community, but a healthy form of, and Christians should be, you know, really good at that, especially in the context that we have today. Small groups and, you know, huddle and, you know, whatever it is, Bible studies that we have, our specific ministries that we have for people, like, you know, whatever it is, get involved. Even serving could be like that, you know, because you meet friends, but having friends in the church who are mature, you know, and are real and can help teach you to, you know, talk right of yourself and will talk right of you, because it's also, you know, it's not just affirming you. Like, it is an aspect, you know, you need people in your life to affirm you who are Christians, but also more than anything pointing you towards Jesus and saying that God affirms you more than anything. I think is the big thing. I think a lot of it is just recognizing where the lie is
deep in you. You know, because like it's one thing to recognize it, to know there is a lie, to be able to name it, and then in the moment to say, no, just grace or whatever, right? To negate that lie with truth. But if you don't know what the lie is, and you just know that you're doomsday spiraling, and you're just telling yourself, just grace, but you don't know where that grace is.
That's not the healthy image.
Like, you have to know where to apply that grace, because there's a specific part of you, of all of us, that lacks the effects of grace, because we haven't seen grace, you know, permeate that area of ourselves. And we haven't recognized the way that grace inverts our understanding of ourselves in that particular aspect. And so I think a lot of what yesterday was about is identifying one very key area for a lot of people. That's like, we chase other people's approval. We want people to think of us a certain way, you know, yada, yada. And so identifying one way, but also recognizing there are so many ways that it can show up for you. And so you have to name that thing, to recognize what it is, so that when you name the lie, now you know how to counter it with truth, and not just like the general grace. But once you understand where that grace fits, then you'd say, it's just grace that counters this thing, and here's how it counters it. Here's where it shows up. It's because Jesus has justified me, or because he's already accepted me, or because, you know, whatever the thing is.
The worst part and the best part is that even as you deal with all your stuff today, like, there is sometimes a cyclical nature to some of this stuff, and so it might be like in 3 years, you know, it happens again. And I think that's what is important about the constant and consistent pursuit. Like, we continue to pursue Christ, because when that stuff happens, that's the answer is to those things, is to like revisit that I'm already accepted. And like, knowing that right now, sets you up really well for dealing
Yeah.
with those things in the future.
Yeah, it's not a problem you just get to solve and then move on from.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, now I don't ever seek approval and I won't for
Yeah.
the rest of my life or whatever it is. It's the same with the Bible. Like it's not a book that you read once and you're like, okay, now I got it. I read it and now I'm done with it. I can move on and continue living a Christian life. Like it's meant to be revisited for the rest of your life and meditated on. And every time you revisit something, it'll hit you in a new way because of your new experiences, your perspective or whatever. It's the same thing with this like deep internal work that we all have to do. Is that like it's a constant thing.
And culture around us is going to change, and the Bible will answer that in its own special way that we don't even know yet. So it's cool. So all right, man, that's good.
Yeah,
dude. If you haven't watched the sermon,
Good job, Aaron.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it was good, and like I think it's also important to say that like, we're here for you guys too. Like, I think this is not a process to go through yourself.
We're all figuring this out.
Oh, man,
like that's why Dallas says it almost every week. Is that when none of us have it figured out, we're all trying to figure it out together. Yeah. So it's okay to not be fully okay. Like it's fine if you're right in the middle of wrestling with this, or if you're just at the beginning of it and you're like, I don't even know where to start. It's okay, and we're all here for you.
Yeah, and I would don't wait to have a conversation.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's good. Okay.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
We'll see you next time.
All right.